Studio Madhouse proved once again why it's the king of anime series with the most awesome director of our times, Yuasa Masaaki, blessing the medium with some of the most exceptional and artsy anime there are that have nothing to do with fan service or flower symbolism. Although I constantly nag about pretty colors not being that important, having an unusual artwork helps to make a series stand out from the lot. This counts double for a setting that has absolutely nothing to do with high schools, contemporary Japan, or Earth as we know it. When the setting is mundane, it becomes an unnecessary visual alienation to not use a typical art style. In Kaiba, looking bizarre makes it easier to understand how different this world is from ours. At the same time, it's not completely different from everything else in the history of animation to the point it's unrelatable for everyone. It's somewhat familiar with Osamu Tezuka's art style, something like the Smurfs, or like the Petit Prince. It's a tribute to retro aesthetics, which for a retro fan like myself, it makes it more enjoyable. It appears to be for kids at first glance, which is deceptive as it's full of nude, bloodshed, eerie monsters and stuff that will probably send the toddlers to the shrink. Everything about it is an allegory, a look into the dark corners of the mind, and deals with all the usual existentialism topics of science fiction, from the meaning of life to finding your identity in a universe where memory is another commodity. It's essentially like a Ghost in the Shell, only without the need for super detailed machinery and realistically looking characters. It's a case of less is more, where minimalism in details makes it easier to convey its message without the need for 1,000 polygons moving mechanically on screen. And then it's the music. The opening theme is fantastic. Nothing that resembles generic J-pop nonsense, and it's highly memorable. The dialogues are also not wasting your time with aimless bickering, as they are very focused on how the characters feel or what is going on with the plot, and are often supplemented by a visual representation of what they are talking about. The plot is non-linear and has a great sense of mystery, as you are thrown in the setting without knowing what is going on or who everybody is. Instead of going for a lazy info dump, the answers are given gradually over several episodes, which means you are always learning something new instead of feeling you are wasting your time in what appears to be an episodic series at first. It also doesn't overstay its welcome, since it lasts only a dozen episodes, in the span of which it includes more character development and world building than your average anime that can't achieve the same even with 100 times more duration. It is not perfect though, as not everything is explained at the end. We never get any clear answers for what caused the amnesia of the protagonist, or from where did that memory-eating plant came from. I had to make up a headcanon where the latter attacked the former in the beginning of the story, otherwise the ending wouldn't make any sense. And I have to point out how minor characters were far too eager to describe the story of their life a minute after they met the protagonist, because they only appear for one episode and there is no time to spend on slowly getting to know them better. Despite the hiccups, it's a fantastic short series. It's not for a mainstream audience, as most are not going to appreciate it for not being easily digestible. It still achieves way more than most anime with its explode theme that does not stop at the premise, and an art style that will never be confused with the cookie-cutter shows of other studios. It's fairly close to masterpiece level and a necessary inclusion to the top lists of anyone who considers himself to have good taste.